What a great chapter. I like it how it concludes the fight between Nami and Khalifa, and just everything else that came after was just wonderfully done. Wonderfully. One Piece, chapter 412. You missed your chance.
Yeah, this is a good one. Woo! Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-filled CP9 heavy-ridden tale of One Piece. Now, our last chapter saw us really solely focusing on the Nami and Kalifa fight, and it looks like at the end of that particular chapter, the chapter wound up ending off with Nami actually going and shocking the shit out of Kalifa. And, I had a feeling that it wasn't over by any stretch of the imagination, but that's where things left off. And that's right where things pick up over here. Kalifa had been shocked and wounded, but not enough to actually put her down and out for the count, right? Or down for the count, I guess you would say. So she goes in and she's starting to go in and really get pissed off at Nami. And Nami, it's cool because the whole time she keeps her cool and she basically talks about things as if she's a weather person, right? A weatherman. Giving the forecast. and then as Khalifa's trying to go and kick through and attack the mirages, never picking the right one, that actually is Nami. Nami's like, yeah, and today's forecast is you get about a 20% chance of actually contacting or hitting me. And as she's kind of dancing around and having the upper hand in this whole thing, because there's all these different clones, like some are short and fat, some are tall and skinny, the one that looks just like her. Doesn't matter, because the way that the images are being projected and the mirages are being used, Kalifa cannot figure out what's going on. And she's getting more and more pissed off as she cannot figure out what's going on, right? And she's like, you don't understand, and the 6 powers are beyond human comprehension, And that's basically what she keeps coming at her with, but really at this point it's a futile attempt, in my opinion. It's too little, too late. In my mind, she had already lost to Nami as soon as she lost her cool and she lost her control over things. So she winds up as a last-ditch effort trying to go and because Nami goes and says, listen, there's this thundercloud and blah blah blah, and I'm gonna go and there's gonna be this bolt of this thunderbolt that's going to go and charge and go straight through your chest. And she's like, oh, Khalifa's like, is that a challenge for me to use a defensive move or an offensive move to try to take you out? And really, Nami was just trying to go and kind of get her riled up, get her to make a mistake. What she winds up doing is going and doing that sheep bubbles thing where she kind of like turns into what looks like a sheep and everything and starts like doing this tidal wave of bubbles coming towards all the Namis. And she's like, this will wind up wiping out all the mirages, and the one that falls down will be the real one, right? So Nami goes and counteracts that with a cyclone of her own. She's doing a cyclone so it'll go and blow everything away, And then obviously she has to still go and try to run and get out of there, and Khalifa's able to figure out who it is by the one that's actually trying to escape the area. So Kalifa does go and wind up using her finger pistol on the real Nami and winds up going in, and it looks like she has her, And the thing that I liked about the whole thing is that the whole time Nami has been in control, and I really like that, I like that, well, at least this chapter and the last one. She figured out how to go and beat her. She assessed her opponent, she found a weakness, and then found a way to exploit that weakness. And that's really what I liked about the chapter. But anyway, what she winds up doing, though, is as Khalifa's kind of like, yeah, haha, I got you now, and this and that, Nami's like, yeah, no, that thundercloud's still hanging over your head, bitch. And that's kind of how I looked at it. She doesn't say that, but then you get this beautiful double-page spread of just this Thunderbolt Tempo, and I mean, just goes right through. Here, I actually didn't have it saved on that page, and I should have. And actually or Thunderlance Tempo, I'm sorry, and just goes, it just goes right through and shocks the shit out of quite possibly one of the hottest, if not the hottest, female character or villain that we've seen in One Piece up to date. Of course, opinions may vary on that, but certainly it was sort of like well, it needed to happen, but damn it, that sucks because she's such a just gorgeous young lady. But she winds up knocking her the fuck out, and I just love that. She's like, no matter how strong you are, my forecast is never wrong. And that's what I loved about that, is the whole thing was done as if she was like this weatherman, So anyway, as the fight winds up ending up over here, now remember, Chopper's still on his rampage. Frankie winds up kind of getting up to where Nami is, and he's like, whoa, no, nice, you wound up, you beat this woman, right? That's amazing. You must have some great skills. So they both discuss, obviously, what's going on with Chopper. And at one point, Frankie's actually just like, so what should we do? Should we kill him? And Nami's like, don't ever say that, And But anyway, they wind up going in and kind of off screen, I guess you would say. They wind up working out some kind of plan of action of what they're actually going to be able to do. So then they go and they take us away from that, and they take us back to, you know, obviously, obviously Sniper King is still handcuffed to Zoro, and Zoro is still trying to use him as his sword of truth, or whatever the hell he calls him, long-nosed sword of truth. Anyway, Chopper has wound up invading that fight, you know, and wound up getting in between that one, with obviously between them and Kaku and Jabra. And pretty much Zoro had just been, for the most part, been on the defensive. They're waiting to hopefully have Chopper bring back the key, and they recognize this is Chopper, but he's just like this mindless, crazy fucking beast coming at him, you know. So it's all very comical, but at the same time, they can tell that Chopper looks as if he's like dying out. He's like burning himself out, right? And it's just one of those supernova type things, you know, you burn too hot, you know, too bright, too hot, and then, you know, wind up just fizzling out. And that's what they're afraid is going to happen. Frankie winds up going and bursting in on the scene and goes and jumps in front of Chopper, right? And they're like, what the hell are you doing, this and that, you know, because he's got one of his cannons out and he's going to do one of his coup de vent, you know, moves. And he says, listen, there's only one way. I've already discussed this with, you know, with Nami, obviously. Or I've already discussed this. And don't worry about it. The only way to save him, the only way to have somebody like a devil fruit user, right, to get them to back off or calm down or whatever on their power to kind of negate their power, is to go and have them hit water, right? Put them in a body of water. It's like, don't worry, I toned this down. I'm not going to wind up hitting him with a full force. So he hits him with the coup de vent, you know, and busts him out the side of the building, you know. And Chopper goes flying off into the, you know, obviously the rushing water below. Frankie goes and dives in after him so he can obviously save him. But really, this seemed to be, and I didn't even think about this, but this seemed to be the best way of actually being able to save Chopper from just kind of burning himself out and maybe just dying, right? Because I don't know, that's probably what would have happened if he would have kept on this rampage. So what I like about it, though, is then we get the end of the chapter, and we got Kaku and Jabra, you know? And they're over there, and there's actually one point prior to the Frankie appearing where these two are just like, you know what? The Buster Call's been sounded anyway. We're going to kill anybody that gets in our way, and they're going to attack, you know, Chopper. And Zoro's like, bullshit, we ain't having that happen, you know? And he goes and grabs onto Sniper King and does his 36-pound Phoenix, you know, and goes to obviously keep them off of Chopper for a little bit. Anyway, what I loved about it was the end of the chapter, right? Because the end of the chapter, you wind up getting this awesome picture between that you got Zoro standing there. The handcuffs have been taken off, so he's now free from, you know, Sniper King and what have you. And obviously the whole Chopper situation, that's being handled by Frankie. But we just get Zoro, man. He's over here because they're kind of laughing it up at him, Kaku and Jabra and everything else. And he's just like, I wouldn't laugh if I were you. You're going to be sorry. You won't get another chance to beat me, world government goons. And it's funny because, I mean, I watched the anime, obviously, in the English dub, you know, but Zoro's got this real kind of cool, just sort of, it's this real strong voice that just kind of gets in your face, and when he says something, you listen, you know? He just says it, and he says it with such conviction, and I just picture him saying these words in his voice, you know? I wouldn't laugh if I were you, you know? You're gonna be sorry. Now I'm free. Now we'll see. Now we'll see, now that the tables have been turned and I'm actually able to fight at full strength, what's going to go on. That's how the chapter ends off, though. My chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is ultimately, how do you think the fights are going to wind up playing out from here? Because we know that Jabra is, in my opinion, is a total overmatch for Sniper King, Usopp, whatever, right? He's got a lot of heart, but I just don't think he has the power to back him up. You know, those of you that haven't read ahead, or those of you that just kind of want to, you know, obviously, you know, humor me, I guess you'd say, over here. You know, do you think that Frankie's going to wind up coming back, and Frankie and Sniper King and Nami all together are going to be able to take out Jabra? Is Sanji going to go and somehow wake up, or are they going to be able to get, you know, splash some water on him, and all of a sudden he'll be fine now that they know how to combat the golden bubbles thing? Really, I just want to know what your thoughts are on how the matchups are going to go, because I have a feeling that obviously Zoro is going to wind up facing off against Kaku now, or is Zoro going to wind up pretty much taking out both of these guys? Leave your answer to that question, as long as it may be, in the comments down below. That's what she said. And feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Remember to subscribe to my other channels and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.